Automation can be drawn in or recorded in using fader movements. MIDI and audio automation is almost identical, so I'm only going to cover audio automation. Let's draw in some automation right now. Let's solo this drum track and press the Show and Hide Automation button. Now take your Draw tool and draw in some automation. You may notice that Cubase didn't draw in exactly what you wanted. Go to the Project menu and select the Automation panel. You can also make the Automation panel appear by clicking this button here in the toolbar. There's an option here called Reduction Level. The higher this slider is, the more Cubase will get rid of automation points when you draw them in. Let's lower this so that Cubase does very little automation reduction, keeping almost all the automation points intact. Now when we draw automation in, there are more points. Now let's add some panning information. Press the plus button here to add another automation track. If there's another parameter that you want to automate and you don't see it on this list, you can choose the More option. This will pull up a list of all the parameters that you can choose from. Under Standard Panner, choose Pan Left Right and then click OK. This time, let's use a sine wave tool so that we'll get something that sounds more natural. Now we have a sine wave panning from left to right. You can change how the sine wave gets divided by turning on the snap and changing the quantize value. Set the grid type to Use Quantize and try different values like whole notes and half notes. A tip here is that when you use the Sine Draw tool, make sure you click on the middle of the automation track, halfway between the top and the bottom. You can also change the phase of the sine by holding down Ctrl or Command as you draw the curve. Hide the pan automation and then open it again. To reopen the pan automation, choose Standard Panner, Pan Left Right from the drop-down list. Notice that Cubase shows you which automation is being used with a little star. This helps you find it quicker. You can actually find it even quicker using the Automation panel. We'll show you that in a second. When you're drawing in automation, it's sometimes nice to draw on top of the waveform so you can get the automation exactly where you want it. Since Cubase draws underneath the waveform, it can be tricky to get it just right. In the Automation panel, under Options, choose Show Data on Tracks. You can close up the automation tracks if you want by clicking here. Instead of using this button to reopen the automation again, just right-click on the track. There are options here for showing automation on selected tracks and showing automation on all tracks. You can also choose to hide all automation. This can be achieved in the Automation panel. You can show used and hide all by clicking these buttons. If you want to open the volume automation for all tracks, click Volume. If you want just the tracks that have automation on them, click Used Only. When this is on, only the tracks that have automation on them will open the automation window.